Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Abraham Bosom.
Good day. Thank you for having me.
Good day. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have the family of pharmacist and Mrs. Peter and Anna Marie on our show today. And I know that I'm going to make justice to our template and our questions today. Sit tight and enjoy. We're going to be discussing a very important and vital topic this morning that has to do a lot with family and relationship and the society in general. And our topic of discussion today is third-party interference in marriage or relationship. Man, let's start with you. They say women are the housekeeper. What do you understand by the word third-party interference in marriage or relationship?
It's a pleasure to be here once more. The word third party means an extra person outside the two. That's why the word third comes. The third interference, third person coming to get involved in probably the marriage or your life or relationship. The third party interference could be person, it could be hobbies, it could be anything that interferes with the relationship that exists between two persons.
Okay, sir, to you now, do you have any addition or any contrary opinion to what she just said regards to the word third-party interference?
She has aptly described what third party is. Third party is a third person or a third thing interfering or coming in between the people in relationship, either husband and wife or people in relationship.
Okay. This question, can you now say family members, both parents or in-laws are considered as third party in marriage or in relationship?
Going by the definition of third party, actually they are. They are.
And sir, has third party interference done more harm or good to marriages and relationships?
Well, it depends on the angle at which you are looking at it from.
Okay.
In some instances, third party could come in to do some damage control or repairs, and in some instances, third parties could do damage to marriages and relationships.
Can you cite those instances for us? I want to know, my viewers want to know.
Well, in a case where a third party instigates one of the parties against the other to cause breakage in marriages and separations, that is damaging. But in a case where there are issues, because as human beings definitely times will come when there will be issues, there will be meeting points that needs to be attained between a husband and wife or in relationship. At times when the third party comes in to bring the two parties together to resolve issues amicably that otherwise they are unable to resolve individually together, that one is positive and that is welcome.
Okay. You are a marriage counselor, you've written several books on marriage and relationship. And a lot of persons have frowned at and have kicked against consulting and seeking counselors when it has to do with marital issues. What is your take in involving a marriage counselor, spiritual directors, a mentor, or your priest in your marital issues?
Like, people will always say that marriage is an institution where people learn. It's like you have to learn the whole of your life, your lifetime. And in schools or institutions, you need teachers, you need coaches, you need mentors, because they help you to grow, they help you to learn. And most times you can learn from their wealth of experiences or knowledge. So involving such persons in matters that is beyond you or that you cannot resolve amicably, I don't think it's bad. It's actually very necessary, especially when you know those people are positive persons and they have love towards your family or your relationship, and especially when you know they are people that have your interests at heart. I don't think it's a bad idea to consult them or to have them even mentor your marriage.
Sir, for how long have you been married?
By October the 3rd this year, that's 2024, our marriage will be 32 years.
Wow, that's a whole lot. More grace, sir.
Thank you.
And for my viewers out there, I hope you have learned from the family of pharmacists, Mr. and Mrs. Peter Enemari, from their wealth of knowledge and contributions. Ma, I want to come back to you again. What is your advice for new couples and intended couples regards to third-party interferences in their home?
Well, my advice to new couples or intended persons that want to get married is, if they are choosing third party in matters that has to do with their relationship and marriage, they have to be very, very careful on the choice of persons to use in their families. I think like in Christian marriages, people usually have sponsors, as they are called, or godparents, but there's usually one family you look up to, probably because of their lifestyle, the way they've been able to keep their home front. You look up to them and you want your family probably to be like their own. You can consult them, but I would advise we need to be very, very careful, because sometimes when family members are used as third parties, they tend to be a little bit sentimental when they are trying to resolve crises in marriages. So it could be one-sided, probably because the man or the woman is related to them. They will begin to see issues from that perspective. But once you happen to be somebody's mentor in the issues of life, you throw away sentiments, you throw away biasness. You have to be real when you are dealing with such issues. So I encourage people having mentors, but sometimes you have to be careful when you take matters to them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sir, you have been married for almost 32 years now. For the past several years in your marriage, was there any time that third party got involved in resolving issues in your home? I want to know, my viewers want to know.
Thank you very much for that question. Up to this moment, we've never involved a third party in our marriage to resolve any issues between the two of us.
Wow. And ma, what issue comes up? How did you, for the past 32 years, I know it's not easy, how have you been struggling and managing to solve issues, to manage issues just within the confine of your home or between the both of you without getting third party involved?
Yeah, we communicate a lot.
Okay.
That's one of the key factors. We communicate a lot. My husband will always tell me, feel free to tell me anything. So I don't keep secrets. I don't have secrets. I always tell him everything. I tell him the way it hurts deeply, even if it's very deep. If it's shallow hurting, I always tell him, look, this is what has happened and this is the way I feel about it. I don't hide the way I feel when I'm talking with him. So we try to talk a lot, and we try as much as possible to resolve our issues before the next day. When anything happens within a day, as we go back to bed at night, we talk about it before we sleep. Sometimes even when we talk about it, we might even be angry while we sleep, but by the time we're waking up the next day, we are all good again. So we've been able to communicate a lot. Thank you.
Okay. How do you communicate those issues to your partner, sir, if you are hurt and you are not okay with whatever she has done?
Well, it's just to be open and be straightforward. You don't have to bend issues when you want to communicate. If something hurts you, you say it hurts you, so that the solutions can be found as quickly as possible. In fact, like she has said, it has been good and marvelous all the way, although not without issues between us arising once in a while, but none of the issues has ever gone beyond our bedroom door, even to the sitting room. Even our children have never had to intervene in issues concerning us. So it's just like she said, communication, openness and truthfulness. Whatever you don't like, you say you don't like, and you can guide somebody on the way to do things, on the way to talk, and on the way to relate. If you go out and she behaves in a way that I do not like, When we come back, we'll talk it over. If I behaved in the way that she did not like, we'll talk it over. Just like she said, communication and the way to communicate is very important. Because at times, if you don't have to shout on somebody, you don't need to shout on somebody. In fact, the best way to drive issues home is resolving issues on very mutual and very natural terms. That's how we've been able to go through all this while for 32 years without having to involve a third party.
Wow. I believe you are learning so much from these lovely couples. At least, for the past 32 years you have been married, and I know there are families and couples that you admire so much, and you want more of like them modeling your own home, or you look up to them. Do you have any role model that you want your family to picture and to look up to like?
I've actually encountered a lot of families, both younger ones in marriage and older ones in marriage.
Yeah.
But my role model has actually been biblical principles. I've actually used the Bible as a yardstick on how I relate in my home and how I treat my family. Because I've come to realize that humans are actually not perfect. They have a lot of failings, because when you look up to a particular person and tomorrow the person does what you don't like, you begin to dislike and you'll be disappointed actually. So I've actually looked up to the word of God and look at what the scripture says concerning marriage. And with the help of God, I try to imbibe what I've learned from the Bible into my home. So that's what has helped me so far. Yeah.
And sir, the last question for you. Some families have been damaged and are full of regret now because of third-party interferences. Now, what advice do you have for other couples out there? How would they be able to minimize their problems so that they don't get third-party involved, to avoid issues that will go beyond their control?
Well, thank you very much. Like we said, third party is like a coin. There are two sides to a coin. There is the crown and there is the other side.
The head and the tail.
There is the head and the tail. So, in marriages, like we have already said, if there is good communication, if there is understanding, and if there is acceptability of each other's faults, because we are not perfect, at times we may do some things that are not really perfect, and you can bring scruples and hard feelings and other things. If the best thing in the first place, even though it looks impossible, is to avoid issues that will bring in third party. Now, because like she has said, there is no perfect human beings, and the third party that you are looking at will depend on who the advice and the counsel the third party will give will depend on whose side the third party has sympathy. So if the third party has sympathy towards the man, the woman will be the one that will take the bashing. If the third party has a sympathy towards the woman, the man will get the bashing. So we should do all things possible to minimize ever looking for or inviting a third party by being open and communicating well with each other. Because third party issue should be the last result. That is, it is not necessary at all if a family or a relationship is in order and is on a good mood, is moving well. So we should not even think of involving third party at all if the relationship is okay and if we are doing well with our relationship. So as much as possible, we'll try to limit third party interference and other things in marriage by understanding each other and then doing well to keep things open to each other.
Now, in conclusion, the last word from you, what advice do you have for viewers out there? The married, the single, the newly married, regards to third-party interference in their relationship and in their marriage and homes.
Yeah, I want to add to what my husband just said. concerning the third party interference. I will also advise, because we are all wired differently, if you think you cannot handle issues alone, look for one that you think are God-fearing and could help your relationship. Because we never had a third party interference in issues that has to do with our family, does not mean there were no issues, but we were able to manage and even resolve our conflicts without external interference. So if you think your own conflict or disagreement is not something the two of you could manage, I will advise you seek the counsel of a third party. If you have marriage sponsors like the Christian sector use this day, you look out for godly families that you look up to as role model in marriage. You can get them involved. If they are beyond you, then look for your spiritual leaders. So even in our various churches, we have people that their department has to do with the family, or that has to do with marriage. Probably you are a Christian, any religion you belong to, they have such persons. These people go a long way in helping, because they are called by God to help resolve matters. So that's what I want to add to what my husband just said. You cannot rule out the interference of third party completely.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need them. So if it happens that you need them, look for one that you know will help your marriage or help your relationship. Thank you.
Thank you so much, my viewers out there. This family have been married for almost 32 years now, and there have never been a time that third party got involved. I'm sure that you have learned so much from them. Continue to watch Abraham Boson, and together we shall make it a better place. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.